Hello everyone, my name is Mustafa. Welcome to today's edition of Creating and Managing Cloud Spanner Database. For today, we're exploring Cloud Spanner, loading data, and performing backups. We've started with the basics of Cloud Spanner, and today we want to go more in depth and discuss how we can load data and perform backups on Cloud Spanner. So as usual, here are the objectives for the lab. We would insert data with DML, would insert data to a client library, would insert batch data through a client library, we would also load data using Dataflow, and finally, we would back up our database. So as usual, let's get started. Click on Start Lab, and I would launch this lab with the required credits. After launching my lab, I would open in an incognito window, and I'll copy my password. The username gets copied. Click on Next, and paste the password in here. Click on Next. I understand. Here is it setting up my Google Cloud dashboard, and here is my dashboard. So I'd agree to the terms and condition. After agreeing to the terms and condition, then I would activate my Cloud Shell. So moving ahead, so you can see we've done all these parts. We've done this part, and we are at this stage of activating our Cloud Shell. So let's copy this command to list the active name that is associated with this account. So continue. It's provisioning my Cloud Shell machine, and after that, I'll connect to my Cloud Shell instance. So got this. So to just make things more bigger, let me change the font, the text size rather, and use medium text size. So let's list the account name here, authorize this, and these are our active accounts. So we can also list the project ID with this command. Enter, and here is our project ID. So we are good to go. For task 1, we want to explore the instance. So an instance has been created for us before, and if you take a look at the first video of this playlist, you would see how to create an instance. So an instance has been created for us, and we just want to go into that instance, check the instance, and see if there's anything that is happening on that instance. So to view this instance, we have to go to Cloud Spanner. From the navigation menu, click on More Products, and keep going down. Here's our spanner. Click into spanner. So this is the instance that has been created for us. So we'll click into the instance. After clicking into the instance, then we have our database already. This is the database that has been created for us, banking-db. So let's click into the database also. So here's the database, here's the table. We can go to Spanner Studio now and maybe query from this table. So we have our table here. Let's see. So we'll just copy this command, select star from customers, run it. So this query did not return any row. That means our table is currently empty. So we just have a table that is empty, that has been created for us in our database. So that's fine. We've explored the instance. For task 2, we want to insert data with DML. DML stands for data manipulation language. You can insert data to the dashboard, and you can also insert data to the command line interface. But for now, we'll be inserting data to the command line interface. And what this command here is doing is that gcloud spanner databases execute. So execute SQL, then we are putting the name of the DB and the name of the instance here. And this is our SQL command. So take note that it comes with an SQL flag. So and this is it. We are inserting into customer. These are the column names, customer ID, name, location, and these are the values for those column names. So let's copy this command and go to our Cloud Shell. So paste this command here, click on enter, and it should insert the data for us. So it's loading. So the data has been successfully inserted, and you can see that one row has been modified. So to confirm that, one thing you can just do is that you can run this command once again, and this that was showing this query did not return any row should now return a row. Just run it once again, and you can see we have one entry here, so that's good. So that's how to insert data with DML. So you can also take a look at this for more resource. So for task 3, let's insert data through a client library. So there are different programming language that you can use to insert data into Cloud Spanner, and by using a programming language or by using a programmatic interface, you can insert data more optimally. So let's see how we'll do in this round. So let's insert data through a client library. First thing is I would use a editor, the nano editor. So let's open our nano editor, and let's edit inside this insert.py. So here is our nano editor. Let me just drag this up. So going ahead, we can see this command that we are using. So this is the command that we want to use. So what this command is doing is that these lines here, they are just importing the necessary modules from Google Cloud Package for working with Cloud Spanner. So we are including the Spanner module, which is for the Spanner module is used for the client, and the param types module, it is used for specifying parameter types. So that's what these two lines are doing. So this part, the instance ID, the database ID. So what we are doing here is we are defining the constant instance ID and database ID with the identifiers for the Cloud Spanner instance and database. So these are Cloud Spanner instance and Cloud database, and this is our values there. So on the next one, what we are doing here is we have a Spanner client. We create our Spanner client, which is this Spanner client, and then the instance and the database object are created using the provided instance and database ID. So next we have a def function. So what this def function is doing is that this function it is used to insert customer, the function called insert customer. So the function insert customer, it takes a transaction, so you are taking a value of transaction as a parameter, and it executes the insert SQL statement that is here. So this insert SQL statement is just adding a new record to the customer table, similar to the one that we used previously. Insert into customer, the customer ID, the name, the location, and the values that we specified. And finally, those that got changed are returned. So this is what we are doing here: print all this record. So the number of rows are returned. And in the final command, in the final syntax, what we are doing here is that we are doing a running. So the running transaction method, which is used to execute the insert customer function. So we are using to execute the function that is there. And when it executes the function, this is also useful because it ensures atomicity of the database operation. And this function is going to insert the specified customer data into the customer table. So that's pretty what this code is doing, and you can copy this command. So let me just reconnect. So paste our command. After pasting our command, then Ctrl X, then Y to save it and enter. So we've saved our command. So after saving the command, let's run the Python code with using Python 3 insert.py. So here we are running the Python code, and the Python code has been run. So we have one record inserted. So when we have one record inserted, let's take a look at our database, our table in the database, and see if a new entry is there. So this is the one that we added using just the command line interface directly. So this one we are using a client library. Let's run it and see. So you can see that we have one more record inside the one that we just inserted now. Okay, that's fine. So for task 3, so let's check our progress. Yeah, and we are good to go. So for task 4, we want to insert batch data to a client library. So now I want to take some data in bulk and try to insert them into our cloud spanner. So similar way, would open use the nano editor to edit the query. So before I run this, let me explain the code. So looking at this code is quite similar to what's happening in the previous one. Like you can see, so this part we are importing the spanner module and the param type module for the parameters that I would be using. And after that, we are setting the instance and database IDs. This is what we are doing here. And this is the part that the spanner client is created, and then an instance and database objects are also obtained using the provided instance and database IDs that are here. So that's what's happening here. So in the next one, this is the part that's a little bit different from the previous one. So this command is using a with database.batch as batch. This statement, it opens a batch operation, which is like a way to perform multiple operations in a single transaction. So you can see that inside the batch insert method is used to insert rows into the customer table, and we have the column parameters, which are the column parameters which are like the columns that are inside the table, the customer ID, the name, the location. So it specifies the columns where the data is inserted into, and we also have the value parameters, which contains the list of the tuples that are going to be inserted. So these are like tuples. This is one, this is another one, this is third one, this is fourth one. So that's about that. And after that, also we also print a confirmation message that would show the amount of rows that have been inserted. So just quite similar to the previous one. The changes are just in here. So let's keep going. Let me copy this command also. So now I can run this and my nano gets up. So let's paste the command inside. You can take a look at it. So after pasting the command, so after that, let's press our Ctrl X, then Y to save it, then enter. So here we are. We've done that, and so let's dismiss this. And now we can run the next command. Let's go. So the next thing we want to do is Python 3 batch insert.py. Copy this here, paste it here. And you can see that it's also returned that the rows have been inserted. So what we are going to do also, we are going to see if those rows were really inserted. So just the command I've been using, select star from customer. Don't forget that the customer is the name of the table, which is here. Then we can run this. So you can see we add more data. So we are good to go. And then the next thing we'll just do now, let's check our progress. And we can see that this batch method is a little bit more efficient, a single run, and it's a single request. So, but we can also make this thing better. So you can see this is very slow and resource consuming to load data. So let's try to make this better. And one option we can use is using Dataflow. So Dataflow is one of Google's tools under the analytics, and Dataflow is a Google Cloud service that pretty much enables large-scale processing of both streaming and batch data. It utilizes multiple workers to perform data processing in parallel. The process of data transformation is defined using pipelines that moves data from its origin, which is known as the source, to its final destination, which is known as the sink. Spanner's connectors allow you to integrate a database with either a source or a sink within Dataflow. And to load large amount of data, you can leverage the serverless distributed capabilities of Dataflow to extract data from a source, which is also known as the origin, such as maybe a CSV file stored in Google Cloud Storage or thereabout, and import it into a cloud spanner, which in this case would be a sink. So that's just pretty much a brief explanation on what Dataflow is. So the next thing we'll do is we want to create our bucket and an empty file inside our folder. So let's create our bucket. So go back to the command line, cloud shell, paste this, run it. So we are creating a bucket, and after creating a bucket, we are putting an empty file in there because Dataflow would use data from that bucket. So we are good to go. And we need some APIs. There are some APIs that you need to enable in order to use Dataflow. And to be sure that this API is enabled, would attempt to do a force disable if it is previously enabled. And if it is not enabled, it will not run anything. We would now enable the Dataflow API once again. So what we are doing here is Qwiklabs services disable dataflow.googleapi.com. So we are doing a force disable, and after that we would enable so that we can be sure that our API is actually enabled. So let's paste this command here and run it. So you can see it's loading. It should get loaded. So let's wait for the operation to be successful. So you can see both operation has been successful, and we've enabled our Dataflow API. So the next thing we are going to do is let's visit Dataflow and create a job for loading our data. So to do that, I'm just going to duplicate this tab so that I can access Dataflow from a separate web page. So as usual, navigation menu. So Dataflow is under analytics, keeps going down. So you get Dataflow. So we have analytics here, Dataflow. Click on Dataflow. After clicking on Dataflow, so we want to create job from templates. So we can click on create job from templates. And they ask us to use a job name of spanner load. Copy this, paste it here. And what resource here? So we are using US Central 1 as the region. So we are good to go. For the templates, we have to choose a template that is moving from text files on cloud storage to cloud spanner. So I want to use that template. So let's go, and it is a batch job. So it's the right. So let's keep going till we see the template. So here's the template we are using. Text files on cloud storage to cloud spanner. So let's click on that template, and after that we would have to specify some parameters there before we can go ahead. So the spanner ID that what we are loading to is, so the spanner ID that we created is banking instance. And what is the database ID? Database is banking-db. So we have a text import manifest file. So the text import manifest file just typically contains the pattern of how we are loading our data. It will probably contain the columns names of the columns that we want to set. So it's more of like a manifest. It's used in creating the schemas of the tables that we are creating. So, and this is the part that we are just using. So this has already been done for us, and we just need to talk to that part on the cloud bucket. So you can just paste the command there. It should be good. So here is the temporary location where we write our data into. So we can just so like for example, now this is what this manifest one contains here. So you can see it contains the table name, it contains the path to the file, and it contains the columns that we are using here. So which is good. And this is what the CSV look like. So you know that this part that is coming first is the customer ID, this other part is the name, and other Ohio is the location. So which we are good to go. So for the temporary location, let's just paste this. It's just it's a temp file, and this temp file is still the one that we created. You can see that this is our project ID, and this is just /temp, which is the file that we created in our bucket. Okay, so I think we are good to go. So is there another configuration we need to set? Okay, so under our optional parameters, let's set some things there. So let's not use the default machine type, And let's change our machine type to what was given to us. Okay, let's use E2. So for the E2 series, okay, so select E2 medium. Okay, they ask us to use 2 vCPU, 4 GB of memory. Yeah, we are good to go like this, and we can now run the job. So let's run the job, and you'd see that the job is running. So as mentioned here, so the job takes like 12 to 16 minutes for it to happen, and so I'll just fast forward it and see at the end. So you would see different processes as it's going, as the job is going, and it will show you like a graph view of the job. So graph will appear after a job starts. So as the job is starting, it will also spin up a graph here, and you'd see everything at the end. So you can see the graph is starting. So I'll fast forward it at this moment and see at the end. Here we are. So you can see that it has completed and it's now in succeeded. So there's a graph view, there's a table view, depending on what you want to see, and you can expand down depending on what you intend to see across. And these are like everything that's get completed. And there's also a table view. There's also there's a graph view. So all these things that we are doing, they are just we have the template are there already. So they are predefined template that we use, and it's the template that has all these things in there. So since the templates comply with what we are doing, which is moving from cloud storage to cloud spanner, and these are just everything here. So you can close them back as you wish and have it here. So that's regarding that. So let's go to the instruction, and now let's check if what we did actually got done, or if we are just bluffing. So let's see. Go back to our database. This is our spanner editor. So we can use this same browser. Just drag this down a little bit. Let's do a run and see how many rows we have, if there are even much, before we now count. So you can see this result is too large. It's only showing. That means what we actually did and what we actually did got inside. So let's count the amount of customer ID that we have. So let's run this command. There's something wrong. Let's run it. So we have 151,485 records. So that means we are good to go. So let's see if we've completed this task for task 5. And task 5 is also complete. So the last task for this lab is to back up our database. And for us to back up our database, we have to go to the instance. So here I am, and you can see I'm on the overview page of the spanner. So I'm not in any database. If I'm in a database and I do a backup, then I don't need to specify the database name. But now I'm not on any database, I'm just on the instance. So when I click on backup and restore, I can now create a backup. After clicking to create a backup, it will bring the option. So I'll choose the database name I'm interested in, and I would also have to input the backup name. The backup name we are using here is banking backup 001. So we have that here, and we want an expiration date of 1 year. So we can click on create. So you can see it's creating. It also takes a while for the backup to get created, and according to the instruction here, so it takes around 15 minutes. So let's see. We'd wait for the backup to get created, and I'll fast forward it and see at the end. So you can see the backup has been successful, and it has a check mark of backup, which means we are done. So that's all. That's pretty all. Thank you very much for staying through with me to the end of this lab. And this lab is a little bit technical. Go over the instructions once again. Try to understand the code that I used, and you would get a grasp of it. So thanks very much for staying through. If you enjoyed this lab, smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you can see the next video. Bye for now. Thank you.